Okay, so where we left off, this anonymous dude, is working for the Romneys. He's driving this for the family, I guess, in some capacity. He said he never met Mitch Romney. So he said that he's working for this kid Cole, and he's like obviously very entitled, rich kid who just gets shit faced all day and picks up chicks at night. And this one, he played a little bit too hard with his toy and he broke it. It just follows the same pattern of indifference to human beings as long as they're young and female. He's freaking out. He said, oh, the whole time I'm driving, I'm just sweating right through my clothes. I have to stop twice to puke. When I get there, there's a little dirt spot that you can pull into. And sure enough, there's a big black SUV and a Jeep with off-road tires. I'm not about to just assume these are the body people, so I stop and just kind of get out and approach the SUV. The windows roll down, and there's a woman who's probably in her 50s, big guy driving. I don't know what to say, so I'm like, just kind of like, how's it going? Feeling like a complete fucking idiot. She makes a call, and she describes me to the person on the phone. Then she puts it down and says, clear who you're looking for. Is it under all that stuff in the bed of the truck? I say, yeah, do you need help? She says, no, take a break. So I walk into the trees a little bit and smoke a cigarette or two. They've got her out and put her in the Jeep within about 5 minutes. The woman tells me to drive, wait 15 minutes before I leave, and then pull out and drive away. The Jeep drives further into the woods. I wait maybe 7 minutes and I leave. I got a text later telling me not to ever leave early again. It was from a blocked number. When I get back to the house, Cole is sitting at the kitchen table eating a massive bowl of Fruit Loops with a big serving spoon, watching Love and Hip Hop. This man is like a child. He hasn't even gotten dressed yet. He asked me to wash his blanket and sheets. I do it. We get really drunk that night, and Cole tells me this has happened twice before, and it's always fine. He says he's like Scarface and shit. I hate him. The remaining few months go by without incident, and he gets his license back, freeing me at last. Mr. Epstein doesn't need me at this time, but I do get referred as a reliable driver to the bigwigs at Def Jam Records, who assigned me to work on Rihanna's crew while she promoted Talk That Talk, at the time her 6th and newest album. I don't know. I haven't confirmed this part. I mean, it's kind of a weird shit to pull out of your ass that he talked good shit about you to Def Jam Records. So, I never met Miss Rihanna in person, just in passing now and then, but I found this job to agree with me a lot better than the others. I drove a van stacked with promotional gear from city to city while she toured. A few times I was sent to pick up Molly, and I was taught to use test strips to test for purity. If it was not pure, I was supposed to walk away, but it was always pure. There are circles within circles of connections. I believe there's an entire shadow economy strictly for the rich and famous to get their rocks off collectively. One thing I did learn about Rihanna is that she enjoys young females as well. I was sent to pick up 2 young girls and bring them to her hotel. Of course, I was met outside the door by someone more important than me. This struck me as odd because, as far as I understood, Rihanna was not a billionaire like Epstein, but she was even more insulated and protected than he was. I'm sure a lot of that has to do with just personal choices regarding security, but I get the picture that in this world, influence and money both equal power, and Rihanna, especially in 2011, 2012, was highly influential. All I had to do was mention her name, and girls would get in the car. Just like that. He said, so the most noteworthy thing that happened while I was working for Def Jam, when Rihanna had a party to celebrate the end of her tour. Everybody was there. I mean, all the pop stars were there. Jonas Brothers, Lady Gaga, Justin Bieber, and even a few old heads like Elton John and some actors. I noticed John Travolta for sure, Seth Rogen, Emma Stone, Bradley Cooper, to name a few. For this party, I was, of course, tasked with getting entertainment. They wanted, quote, as young as I could get and as many as I could get. Ostensibly, they were being hired to be wait staff, valet drivers, etc., but the plan is to switch it up on them when they actually get there, give them enhancements, money, and whatever they need to do what they wanted them to do, which was essentially to be all expenses paid proxies for whoever wanted them. That part, thankfully, was not my job. I'm just the piece of shit who tricked them into going. I picked up 5 young girls from a mall, a couple teenage boys, I found walking along the road, and then I got hold of an escort company to fill it out and make it an even dozen. The ones from the escort company were not underage, and I was severely chastised for it. My manager basically asked me if I ever wanted to work again. I said yes. He said, then act like you've got some goddamn sense. I didn't make that mistake again. After the tour ended, I was just on my own for a month or so. I rented a house near Tulsa and basically isolated the entire time. I was starting to get ideas in my head about going to trade school or something, and I was called back to come work for Epstein again. He calls him Mr. Epstein. At this point, I've developed a coke habit, of which I've only been sober a few months to this day. I needed something to make me do it. It makes you feel numb in a way not much else does, and believe me, I've tried about everything. There are research chemicals no one has ever even heard of. They get traded around in these circles. When I came back to work for Mr. Epstein on his island, I was going through an 8-ball every day or two. I binge drank at night, but I had to keep focused during the day. So the C where I wired me up and the liquor brought me back down. That's the only way mentally I could cope with what was happening. I've actually known people like that. Now, first of all, the island is like a paradise on earth. It's always a comfortable temperature. The rains are breathtakingly beautiful, and the architecture and decor of the houses are exquisite. Yes, the bathhouse is really creepy. The fake doors are there to confuse flyby surveillance, if anyone was wondering. The other regular staff were hard to get along with. They were all creeps, and I mean with a capital C fucking creeps. Made me wonder about myself, honestly, that I'm put there with them. They all joked about getting Mr. Epstein's leftovers, and the talk was constantly about when Mr. Epstein was going to visit the island again, when he would bring important people, world leaders, CEOs, etc. And I and most of the staff kept totally out of sight. We weren't allowed to work in an area unless we knew it was empty. Only his most trusted employees could actually be in the building with him and his high-powered friends. Sometimes, though, it would be just the family and things were even more relaxed. I passed by his office once carrying some garbage when he beckoned me inside. He asked my name and I told him. He offered me a seat. I took it. You don't get far in this business saying no. He began to talk to me. He looked really stressed. He asked me how anything that feels good could be bad. He had a big painting of Oscar Wilde and considered him a personal hero. He began to explain hedonism to me and asked if I understood. Of course, I said. Who doesn't like fun? Lots of people, he said. Lots of people. And then he let me go about my duties. And then he says, I fucked up really bad one evening and entered one of the maintenance sheds to return some tools I'd been using and saw the sweaty, pale back of a large man hunched over and kind of, you know what he's doing. He had a tattoo of Nixon on his back. What? He had a tattoo of Nixon on his back and was wearing a bull's head mask. He was one of the regular staff members, mouths. He turns to me. I'm just standing in shock, and he says, quite angrily, do you mind? And I slam the door shut. As I'm closing the door, I get a glimpse of my coworker's face, and he's crying. I Googled Nixon back tattoo later, and I realized that man was Roger Stone, who I'd never even heard of up to that point. I knew I was in deep shit. The next day, and for 2 weeks after I got the worst jobs, trash pickup, cleaning toilets, scrubbing the boats. It fucking sucked, but I kept my mouth shut anyway. As far as I understood, my pay had not been cut, so whatever. I'll do the shitty jobs where I'm by myself because at least, hey, I'm by myself. That was fine with me. Yeah, now it's more stuff about the island, so I'll do one more, I think.